Now let's think about how to provide shade. As we saw earlier, the sun angle varies by season for a particular latitude, and so we want to figure out what that angle is so we can figure out where to put our windows, where to put overhangs on the buildings, and where to put trees and what kind of trees to use, because we're thinking about shade in the summer. Now, the very best kind of tree to use when you're thinking about shading your house is a deciduous tree. And by the way, this is one of the questions in our assignment worksheet, so you might want to make a note of this. A deciduous tree is the kind that loses its leaves in the winter. So it's got leaves in the summer and it can provide shade, but then in the winter it drops its leaves, it's got bare branches, and it lets sun in. And if you just moved into a house and you want to get some shade fast, you could also consider building a trellis and planting a deciduous vine on it, and that will have the same effect. An evergreen keeps its leaves all year long, so it's going to have shade all year long, but it will also block the wind all year long, and you might want to think about putting that on the north side of your house if you're in the northern hemisphere in order to block the cold winds. Here's an example of what not to do, and in fact, as you can see here, this plaza won the Hall of Shame award from the Project for Public Spaces. So this was the City Hall Plaza for Boston. The designers thought this will be great. It's got bricks, it's got some geometric patterns, yay. And what research has shown is that nobody uses it. If people have to get from one side to the other, they scurry across as fast as they can. Nobody sits on those sitting places. It's got no trees, no shade in the summertime, and then in the wintertime there's nothing to block the wind, so it's extra cold. Here is an example of a public city hall plaza built in the same time period, in the same architectural style, but look at this. What they did that was different was they included lots of trees, shrubs, and vines, and it makes all the difference in the world. Around your building, then, are microclimates, and let's just talk about a building in the northern hemisphere, so the sun is going to come from the south. That means the south side will be sunny, the north side will be shady. In the summertime, that's when you're most concerned about shade, so you will have a hot place on the south side of your house. That's where you want some shade. There will be sun coming in from the south and in the afternoon also from the west. So if you're going to be doing things outside in the summer, maybe not out here on this hot south side, but maybe over here on the east and the north side, unless you plant some nice trees and make some nice overhangs on the south side. Of course, you want deciduous trees, so notice in the winter time there are no leaves here. The sun can come through and hit the house. It can get in underneath and go through the windows. But in the summertime, when the leaves come back and the summer sun is overhead, those leaves are all providing shade and keeping the house cool. You also want to think about reducing terrestrial radiation from things like paving. So you want to reduce solar radiation that hits those things. Once again, some nice trees to the south and the west of the place you're trying to shade. Here's some more examples. And then in the winter, you want to do things that will increase the sun coming in. So first of all, deciduous trees to let the sun in, but also some surfaces that will allow some of that solar radiation to reflect back into the building. You might think about some kind of paving, patio, a sidewalk, a deck here.